This podcast is proud to be part of the talkSPORT Fan Network. talkSPORT. Powered by fans.
Hello, another week has passed. Yes, it's another week. The Wolves have not won a game again. It seems like deja vu every single week. And I've got to tell you, after the match yesterday, I was probably the most depressed I've been. I got back to my dad's. If you've watched the vlog, you'll kind of see at the end, I was so down. Just because I feel we didn't do too bad yesterday, and everything then we got in front, we came from behind, and then everything seems to conspire against us that we end up losing the game. And it's like, you know, it's the battle, but we're gonna get stuck in tonight into so much, because we've literally got two more games to the World Cup. Obviously, we've got the Carabao Cup on Wednesday night. We've got a nice easy match next weekend against Arsenal, 8 o'clock on a Saturday night. That's a bit unusual. And of course, we lost the game 3-2 to Brighton yesterday. But the major announcement that came out yesterday, at the third time of asking, maybe third time lucky, Wolves announced that their new manager will be Julen Lopetegui. And we're going to be talking to all of the guests on tonight, all the guys that are ringing in, the pundits, about their thoughts on that, as well, of course, their points that they'd like to raise about the game yesterday, man of the match, performance rating, highlight of the day, and of course the Wheel of Fortune. So it's turned into quite a little bit of a popular thing that we've got going, and that is that people do tend to like the bringing us all in groups. I know that Lucy likes groups, so our first group is consisting of Lucy, Chris, who's from Wolf Life to Power the Show, and we've got Josh. Now let me just check on the content and stuff that I've got everything set up correctly before we get stuck in. How are you guys?
Great, thanks. How you doing, Dave?
Thank you.
Not too bad.
Thanks, Dave.
Thanks so much for coming on the show again. You've obviously, few of you are quite regulars. Just to say that if you're in the live chat, you can comment on all the conversations. You can ask questions of everyone. All you have to do is to be a subscriber of the channel. And we've already got 128 people watching live, which is absolutely fantastic. So hi to all the chat. So, Chris, first of all, just a big thanks to you for Wolf Life for supporting the channel. Before we get stuck in, if you just want to tell everyone a little bit about Wolf Life and how they can get in touch with you about their life insurance and why they should.
Yes, so Wolf Life, we're a local company based in Bilston. There's a couple of us. I'll be the main person who you'll be speaking to. And what we do, we arrange independent advice on life insurance for all of your subscribers, any watchers, listeners. What we do, trawl the market and get them the best deal that's out there. It's not just life and protection, it's mortgages and anything else you'd like to talk about, and we can help you with. But yeah, all you need to do is I think there's a link in the description below.
Yeah, and enter a competition as well.
Yeah, there's a competition to win a signed Wolves shirt. You've got to drop us your details, email. We need a phone number, and we need to speak to you, because a few times the phone numbers maybe missed a digit, or it's easy to get a digit wrong. But I've spoken to quite a few people now. So the more the merrier. Hope people want to get in touch.
And that's great. And we'll be announcing when we're doing the draw for the first, because there's going to be a couple of draws during the season, and we're going to be announcing hopefully shortly when the draw is going to be for for that Wolf shirt for the first half of the season. Cool. Big thank you to F1 for your super chat there and donation. I appreciate that. That definitely helps power the show. Thank you very much. And if you do want to send a super chat or ask a question, or you want to become a member, please join. Josh, welcome.
You're right, Dave.
How are you, mate?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. All good. Yourself?
I'm really good. Look at this here. I've just had my cup of tea that's been given to me by the producer.
Good time.
I'm all sorted. Were you there yesterday?
I was indeed. Yeah, so it was. I was quite optimistic going into it, to be honest. So just a shame the way it finished, but
Yeah.
Absolutely. And Lucy, how about you?
I was there, my dear. I was there. Yes, same goes. I was optimistic. I was quite hopeful going into it, but obviously things don't go our way yet again. And
Absolutely. Reginald Philpott is saying, hey, he's from Bermuda. I love your shows. Wolves always been my team. He's a good lad. Why don't you guys in the chat let us know where in the world you're watching us? We know over 153 in the chat. So, Lucy, what would you like to say about the game? First of all, about what would you like to say?
I thought we played positive football yesterday. I think that the team seemed to build as they went on during the game. The first 15 minutes were very dull. They didn't know where they were going. They didn't know where to pass. It just seemed rubbish. Cheeky. But then they just started to come into their own, I suppose, and the fight was there. You know, and they looked like the Wolves that we were a long while back. But then just things go to pot again, don't they? And referees don't help again.
What was your thoughts on the referee yesterday, Josh?
He's just how Brighton didn't get a single booking in that game. I do not know.
Yeah.
The amount of challenges. I know we made a few. Rob, we had the red card.
I couldn't believe that he never gave a yellow card to them the whole game.
About this time last night, my brother said, did they not get a card? And I quickly jumped on Sky Sports app and checked it. No yellow card at all for Brighton. I was like, especially that one with Danny Welbeck towards the South Bank second half when he just played into the back of Ryan. It was just like not a single attempt for the ball.
100%. Chris, what would you like to say on that about the ref? Because I saw you nodding there.
He had a bit of a stinker, didn't he? I mean, it's amazing how refs seem to get swayed at places like Anfield and Old Trafford, but when we never seem to have a ref on our side. When's the ref going to come to the Molineux and give us some dodgy decisions in our favour? It never happens. I thought the red card was, it could have been booked. It didn't need to be a red card, in my opinion.
Well, I'm going to actually ask. So your opinion is it wasn't, because I've got to be honest. When I came out afterwards and we would talk, my dad was a bit upset about the red card, and I was kind of saying, because we're obviously in the North Bank, it happened up towards the South Bank, and I was saying need to watch it back. Whereabouts were all you guys watching it from?
Steve Bull.
So you're in the Steve Bull, Josh?
South Bank.
Chris?
My brother's sofa. He had it on the telly.
So you probably had the best view of everything, didn't you? So Chris, it wasn't a red card. Lucy, your thoughts on that?
I didn't think it was. I didn't think it was myself, personally, from where we were, because we're the other end, we're your end, the North Bank end. But from where I could see, it wasn't. I didn't think so anyway. I thought it'd be lucky to get away with the yellow card for that.
And Josh?
I don't think it was a red.
Josh? Yeah, I don't think it was a red. If he was running on goal, then maybe, but he was going down the left-hand side, on the edge of the left-hand side of the 18-yard box.
Yeah.
Running to the byline. He's going nowhere near that goal. Until he gets to the goal, he's still got to stop and turn. And he's bowled into the back of him. For me, it's a yellow. If he was on goal, then it's a red, but he wasn't on goal.
See, that was the thought that I could see. Having watched it back and seen it back, Semedo, he had a bad game. I mean, the second goal, he should have done better with for start off. And then, the red card, he's out of position. He's looking at the ball. I don't think there's any... Initially, I didn't think there was any intent. I thought it was just a coming together. But watching it back, he does get his arms around him. Now, the question to me for the ref, and obviously the VAR decision decided this, the guy's knocked it towards goal. Would he have had control of the ball to be denied a goal scoring opportunity? That's the key. And I don't think personally he had control. But I think it was dreadful from Semedo. It was stupid. Yeah. I think if it was just a coming together, he'd have got away with a yellow card. but like he's got his arm around him and he rugby tackles him down. So it's stupid. It's like Costa last week. I mean, Costa people were going about his passion and stuff, knocking it wasn't a bad head, but it was sort of like just knocked a little bit on his head, but he goes towards it. It's stupid. It's a silly thing. The discipline level, you look at Collins with his kung fu kicks as well, probably no intent, but the discipline level of the players have got to be questioned. 3 red cards in 14 games. We've already got injuries, and then you've got players are out. It's stupid. Costa last week, okay, it was 2 minutes towards the end of the game. It wasn't a long way to go. Semedo, we've got the whole 45 minutes to deal with in the second half, and that's virtually similar to what happened with Man City. And yeah, I thought we played well, we defended well, but ultimately, they only need one overlap, and it happened, didn't it? Although I do believe that goal should have been cut out 6 or 7 times before he got into the area.
Yeah.
Josh, anything you want to come in on the game itself? Any points that you want to raise?
I thought we were in it all game until we went down to 10 men. I thought we were in it, and I noticed I think Brighton were very narrow. Part of the fullbacks were out there all the time, but in midfield and up front they were very narrow, so it packed out the midfield. I thought, and if you notice, they won every second ball because how packed their midfield was. Adam Lallana, unbelievable yesterday. He was on fire for them. The intelligence of pinging that ball over.
Yeah. Do you not think that's another one though? It should not have been allowed to have even been in a position to do that. There was about 6 Wolves players around him, and he was able to deliver the ball. And then Semedo didn't even seem to jump.
No.
All he needed to do there really is just be smart and just
strong.
He just stopped and jump. All he needed to do was just keep backing into him. If he goes up, his hands are going on top of him, and he's most likely if Semedo goes down and he gets nowhere the ball, we get the free kick. We're just losing that bit of intelligence, I think, like with his red card, couple of the loose balls. But in all, I don't think we played too bad. It's just these little mistakes that keep creeping through, which are letting us down big time.
I think that's a fair comment. Lucy, do you want to come in on that point?
Which point? Which part?
About how we played.
I thought we played well. I did. I think the young guns again were just class. Hugo Bueno, brilliant, absolutely brilliant again. But I've got to say, for me, Guedes yesterday, he pulled it out the bag yesterday. He really impressed yesterday, and I was so chuffed for him to get that goal. I was so happy for him because it's been a long time coming. He has been trying, but he's failed each time. Whereas yesterday he was class. He was brilliant.
I've got to say I was impressed. Go on, sorry, carry on, Lucy.
Boubacar Traoré as well, brilliant.
He's been a fight. These are the 2 highlights for me of this bad run. Is Hugo Bueno. He looks probably our best fullback. He looks our best fullback. He hasn't let anyone down. He's been great. And Boubacar Traoré, fantastic. He's everywhere. He's quite quick as well. He's got a real passion about closing the ball down, and also the reverse ball for Guedes' goal that he got. He plays him in. It's a great goal.
Fantastic.
And just on Guedes, he had a great game, and I think the Wolves fans have been very on Guedes' back and Wang. I don't know if you noticed, both of them got applauded off the pitch yesterday. They went off, and it was nice to see Wang turn around and clap, and Guedes, when he came off, he clapped the fans and stuff because they've been hiding. When at the end of games, they've been off down the thingy, and I hope that gives them a bit of confidence. But Guedes also stayed on his feet for the goal. I think I thought he was going to go over. If he goes over there, surely the ref sends the Brighton player off and a penalty. Anyway, on to the performance rating and man of the match and your highlight, Chris. What are you going to go with?
Well, I'm predictable. I'm afraid I'm going to say Guedes' goal. And the performance rating, you got to. If I could ignore the first 15 minutes where we were too far up the pitch, we shouldn't have been that far up the pitch. We shouldn't have been pressing Brighton in, towards their last third, because that plays into their hands. That they play a counter-attacking game. We shouldn't have been doing that. So when we dropped back a bit, we did a lot better. I'm going to say performance rating, say 6.5. Semedo's not going to get 6.5, but then highlight of the game is Guedes' goal, because and you were right. Traore's pass was superb, such
Absolutely
a beautiful.
class.
It was perfectly weighted. It was brilliant, and Guedes really turned up. And Guedes and Traore were the men of the match for us. But defensively, we need to really pull our socks up and get more organised, and hopefully the new manager will improve that.
We're going to come on to the new management. What's your performance rated? And did you say you've given Guedes man of the match as well as your highlight of the day?
Highlight of the day was Guedes' goal. Performance rating out of 10, 6.5.
6.5.
And what was the other?
Your man of the match.
Man of the match, I'm going to go for Guedes for the goal. And he worked hard until he got worn out. I thought he worked hard for us. I'm not going to give the Brighton man of the match.
That Japanese Brighton player, Menino or whatever, he was really, really good, to be fair. Yeah, they do find them. Josh, your performance rating, man of the match and highlight of the day?
Performance rating for me has got to be a 6. Highlight of the day for me has got to be Guedes' goal, because after what he did at the end of the game at Brentford last week, I don't think many of us were pleased with him when he flung his hand at one of the coaches and walked straight down the tunnel. So for him to come back and do what he did this week, I thought, fair play. You've stuck to your guns and you've applauded everyone as you've walked off after you've scored, and the turn around on his attitude, I thought, which is what he needs. He needs to kick on, because I think he's a good player when you see it. But like a lot of Valencia players fans said, he goes missing when the team aren't playing well, which is what we've seen all season so far. So for him to get the goal yesterday, for me, was my highlight. And then the man of the match has got to be Bueno. I just think
Bueno again.
Yeah, for me, he's just come into the squad, and he's the only fullback out the 4 for me that starts every week. That says something.
Can't argue with that. I think he's been absolutely magnificent, considering he's a young lad who's come into the Premier League, and he's been probably in the top 3 in every single game since he's come on. He's been absolutely fantastic. And what I love about him is his positivity, his work rate, his positional play, and the fact that he's always looking to deliver a ball. And when he delivers a ball in, I mean, in the second half, when we had 10 men, he had that ball where he was going to go on the outside, he cut in and then delivered it in. Guedes got on the end of it, looped up, and the keeper tipped it over the bar. But again, it's another good delivery, which was fantastic to see. We had that one chance, didn't we, from a very smart move from the free kick into Traore. Traore smashed it, but it was at not as height for the keeper. If he'd hit that down low, I think we might have got a sneaky goal. But some great points there. And we're going to come back in a minute and talk about the manager as well. Lucy, your performance rating, man of the match and highlight of the day?
I think performance rating for me would be a 7. Just for the pure fight that they were showing yesterday, and it was a good game. We're just extremely unlucky in that 86th minute, was it? 84th?
I think it was the 84th minute, 83rd, 84th minute.
It was so unlucky. But it's one of them things. Playing against 12 men, simple as that.
Well, I'll put that on my thing. 12 against 10, because the referee did seem to be slightly. Maybe I'm just got gold tinted glasses. I don't know, but the referee wasn't very popular at Molineux at all, was he? He wasn't very popular at all. No. So, what are you thinking about the new manager then? Finally being announced, Lucy. I mean, what are your thoughts on Julen Lopetegui?
Can I just give man of the match first?
Oh yeah, cool. Sorry, yeah.
My new favourite now. Cody can Bueno for me. Brilliant.
You go Bueno as well for you.
He just class. The lad is class. I watched him in the under-23s when they played at Molineux, when they lifted that cup. And I'm telling you now, that boy can shift. When he's got that ball, he's so in control, so demanding of the ball. his arms were flailing all the time, saying, "I want the ball, like, give it to me." He knew where he should be, what he should be doing with it. And he's just brilliant. And he did the same again yesterday. I love him.
Breath of fresh air, isn't he, Lucy?
It really is. Really is.
And he deserved his new contract as well. We should say that Wolves have given him a new contract as well. And he breaks into the side, and in his first month wins Castori Player of the Month as well, and gets a new contract. That says a lot about him.
That video made me smile so much. It was brilliant.
Did you see the interview with him?
Yeah.
It was really down to earth, which is what I like. And Wolves have had him since the age of 16, and it's always great when you see a young lad that comes through into the team. We've seen it with Max Kilman, who's come through. We've seen it with a few of the other ones, but he's really come in and established himself. And to me, he's undroppable at the moment.
He'll be classed his own ground as well when he hits 21.
He classes his own ground. We do need someone, even though he's Spanish, he does. So, Lucy, on to the manager, Julen Lopetegui. Your thoughts on him finally getting done?
I'm chuffed we've actually got him. If Wolves wanted him in the first place, when they Fosun, when they first took over, that there's got to be a reason for that, and they were disappointed they couldn't get him the first time round. So there's obviously something about him that they can see that we need, and bring it on. I can't wait. I just want to put pen and paper together and make a good song like we did with Nuno.
Yeah.
Get the place rocking again, because it was boring again yesterday.
It's heartbreaking not winning all the time, especially when that's how I felt, because I felt like we were going to go on. I felt we were going to go on and win it. And one of the things that I was really impressed with yesterday again was the reaction. Brentford away, we went a goal behind. We came back within 2 minutes. We equalised. We weren't really in the game for the first 10 minutes. Brighton were, they're a great side, footballing side. They're very well managed. They're run very, very well as a football club. That all the things that we've been questioning Wolves on in the recent times. But what the players reacted, and we got a goal straight back, and then we got in front. And I thought maybe today's the day. And then of course, the second goal comes, the sending off comes, and then after that, I think we'd have had 11 versus 11 in the second half. We could have got on and won it, but we didn't. Josh, your thoughts on finally getting the signing of Julen Lopetegui and his credentials, and what do you think he's going to bring to the team?
I'm really happy. Really happy we've got him now. Although I still think it's going to be a tough job. I say for me, I've been thinking about it. We've got to at least win 10 games now. Between now and the end of the season, with 24 games left, is it something?
10 games, I think probably 8 games we need to win.
Yeah,
1-2.
But I'm looking forward to what he brings, and the fact that he's bringing in his own backroom staff as well. After we heard the other week that whoever was coming in, he's getting the backroom staff the board want. There's obviously been complete U-turns at board level, with what he's being given and what he's been told, and there's been rumours of him being given money in January to sort it out. So hopefully he can get us going. It's going to be a tough January and start of February when he comes in. So we've got to get some points in that first month and a half, and start to climb up the table a bit. But I hope he does it. I think he'll bring a bit of fight back into the team. And, I think we can see some good football under him as well. I think from what I saw when he was at Sevilla, the football was quite similar to Nuno, weather the storm of it. But he would also have a chop it and change it and go attacking quite a bit, which is what they did against us in the Europa League quarterfinals. They absolutely dominated us on the ball, and we just tried to weather the storm all game, and they just pounced on us all the way for a good 60 minutes after we scored.
Well, they were so superior to us that night, and it says a lot about as well. I don't know if you've seen the Julen Lopetegui thing that he did on the announcement on his channel. He talked a lot about him and about his record, and it's exciting for the Wolves fans to have got him, and the fact that the Sevilla fans clapped him, did it all around the ground when he left and stuff, and it took Sevilla to 3 Champions League finishes, a Europa League. Sevilla had never done that in their history, and they did sell a few players from under him last season, so I think it's quite exciting. From what I understand, his backroom team are arriving at Molineux on Tuesday.
Yeah,
he should be landing at Molineux on Friday. he'll be in the stands to watch the Arsenal game. So hopefully that energises the players. I know it's a difficult task with Arsenal and stuff like that, but we've seen it so many times, a Wolves team, when you just don't think they're going to get a result against, no chance. They go and pull something out. Who's to say it can't happen? Chris, your thoughts on the appointment? Will he keep us up?
Yes, he'll keep us up. I think Josh is absolutely right. I think we need to start well, win a few games. I mean, nobody said anything about transfers, but I'm hoping he knows of maybe some young Spanish or maybe even Portuguese players who might be able to bring in. But we do need to hit the ground running. And from what I know, which isn't an awful lot, but I know he's quite a pragmatic style of manager. He'll play 4-3-3, but he'll want the wing backs pushing on. So it'll be interesting to see how that works. Not unlike Nuno was a bit like that sometimes, wasn't he? He's quite pragmatic and then go for it when we need to. And he likes to keep hold of the ball. It's very much a sort of possession-based, style, which hopefully will suit us with Martino and Neves. I mean, wasn't it him who made Neves
Yes, he basically
captain?
gave Neves his start at Porto, didn't he? So I think this is another good thing.
Yeah.
The fact that he's going to be coming in. Neves is the club captain. They've got that relationship. Straight away, he's going to have the club captain on his side. Neves is going to be able to talk. They've got that previous relationship. And I think it's a good thing if you can get the team going. Hopefully, Neves signs that new contract, maybe with a buyout clause in it and stuff like that. He's worked with the likes. I think he's worked with Traore and Costa and Johnny Otto in the Spanish squad as well. He's worked with Costa as well. So there's a few that he knows there. I think the good thing is he's bringing his own team in, which is what he wants. From what I understand, and I don't think he would have come if he hadn't been told to the board, I need to bring some players in January, and they're probably going to loosen the purse strings, which they probably wasn't going to do, but they're probably seeing that they need to do. Because at the end of the day, if they have to go and spend another £50 million in the transfer window in January, if we get relegated and go down, then it's a lot more costly than that. I hope we can get a result against Arsenal, because we are going to start to be cut adrift, and then you've got to win 2 games just to stand level. We're going to do the spin the wheel. We're just going to get on to the spin the wheel, and let's see how you get on with the wheel for this week. We'll see whether we can come up. I haven't updated the question, so if the one comes about, we've done that one before, so let's do this one. Oh, this is a good one. Who wants to go first with this? What would you do if you were invisible for a day? What would you do if you were invisible for a day? Who wants to go first?
Go on, I'll go. I've got mine pretty quickly.
Yeah.
I'd love to stand in the Wolves boardroom and see what they're doing.
Brilliant.
see what they're doing. See if we actually know what they're doing. Because at the moment, it doesn't look like they are. Apart from the latest appointment, I'll give them that. But the last month, it's just been like, what's going on? So to stand in the boardroom and see what they're doing day to day would be exactly what I'd do.
Fantastic. I love it. Chris or Lucy, you're up next.
I don't think... Go on, Lucy.
I really can't answer it. I can't think of anything.
You can't think. We'll go to Chris then, and we'll give you an extra 30 seconds.
Apart from loving Josh's answer, there's no way anybody's going to better that. I'm being the type of dad I am, I'd probably want to be sort of shadowing my son to see if he's actually all right at school, loving life, and just making sure he's all right. But,
fantastic.
That's a bit of a dad answer.
No, that's a really nice answer, Chris. Lucy, have you got one now?
Yeah, I think mine would be similar to Chris, to be honest. Like going to the college with my son and seeing the praises being heaped upon him with his art course, because he's doing really, really well. I'm really proud of him. So I'd like to, witness that for myself.
Fantastic. Absolutely brilliant.
Love that.
Guys, as always, so entertaining, so honest, which I really love. I know you all wanted to come on early today, so thank you very much. Josh normally don't mind staying to the end. Any final thoughts? Do you think we're going to beat... I just wanted to yes/no answer. 2 questions. Are we beating Leeds on Wednesday? Are we beating Arsenal on next weekend? Yes, or no, or yes, no, or not sure. Josh?
I'm going to go no, yes.
Out the Carabao, beating Arsenal?
Yeah.
Oh.
Hoping. That's what I'm hoping.
Yeah.
I don't think either one of us or Leeds will want to win that game on Wednesday night.
Yeah. Chris?
That's a good point. No, I think we'll beat Leeds, and I'd love us to beat Arsenal, but I'd just like us to get a draw against Arsenal, quite frankly, because they have thrashed a few teams.
They have. Lucy?
Yes, against Leeds, because especially if we put Traore on, because he does like a cup run. Likes to scoring cup run. So, yeah, I can see us winning that one. Arsenal, I'm not sure. Not sure at all.
Take a point.
I'd take a point quite gladly, yes, against Arsenal. I mean, they're absolutely flying at the minute, so quite gladly, yes.
Okay, so there's only one that's confident. That's Josh, which I like it. Guys, thanks ever so much for coming on. Much appreciated. And hopefully next week we're smiling and we've got an amazing win against Arsenal. You can come back and Josh can go, I told you so. There you go. See you guys.
Cheers, Dave.
Bye, everyone. See you later.
Take care.
So absolutely fantastic. That's Lucy, Chris, and of course Lucy's still on the screen. Now we're bringing on. We're going to do this in because we've got another 4 in the background. So we've got Paul and Jason. I'm going to change the background, and we're going to do. And then we've got Nathan and Sam to come up after that. I'm just going to change the background so it looks nicer. There you go. Hi, boys.
How you doing?
All right, everyone.
I'm good. Jason, loving your backdrop.
Yes, well, this is the new Wolf Whistle bar. I've been working on this, so I'm going to be doing, as you know, some video podcasts with former players soon. So what better way to do it than in a bar over a drink? I'm
looking forward to when we do that, man. That's going to be so good. I really am. We'll talk more about that, obviously, later on when we do the special 100th edition coming up very, very soon. We've got, guys, the 100th podcast, Always Wolves podcast, coming up very soon. We've got a really nice location. So make sure that you subscribe to the channel. You subscribe to your podcasts because that's going to be a real special one. Paul, how are you, mate?
Yeah, I'm not too bad, thanks. Yeah, how about yourself?
Not too bad. Just to let you know, me and Paul are quite good at five-a-side. We're Paul, when he can get over on a Tuesday night, we play. And I think we've played 5 times, and we were at 4. We're 4 against 5 last week, weren't we?
We were up against it, but we pulled through, didn't we? And
8-7. But we were holding on at the end when you pulled your groin for the last 10 minutes, and we were having to try and do game management. We managed to hold out to win.
There's some extreme game management. They didn't like it, but it got us through, didn't it?
No, kept passing it back to the keeper and stuff, didn't we? Because you couldn't cut well. Can't we? It's basically 5 against 3.5 at the end, but we still held on, which was pretty good. But yeah, no, absolutely brilliant. Jason, lovely. Looking forward, as I say, to all the stuff for coming next year and the 100th edition. What would you like to say about the game yesterday?
Well, people are dressing it up, Dave, and people are saying, "Oh, we played better, we played well." So I've got some statistics. 28% possession yesterday. Brighton 72%. Wolves 256 passes completed. Brighton 653. So I can't listen to all this. We played better because we didn't. The stats don't lie.
Now, coming on that point though, Jason, just coming back at you, obviously, because I have to. I guess what you're saying about the stats, which is correct. Yeah. However, you have to take into context, surely, that the second half of the game we were down to 10 men. So surely Brighton are going to have more of the.
Okay. So whose fault is it we're down to 10 men?
Well, it's Semedo's fault.
Yeah, and all this blaming the ref. It'll even itself out over the season. Let's stop making excuses.
Does it though, Jason? Because it never seems to do that with Wolves, though, does it?
whether he does or he doesn't, Dave, listen, if you look at those stats, 28% possession, how are we going to win games on 28% possession? How are we going to beat a team that has done 650 passes and we've done 250?
How are we going to beat a team when we've had 65% possession and we've still lost?
Well,
has happened many times this season.
Yeah, but Dave, 28% possession.
It's the lowest, isn't it, in Wolves Premier League history, I believe that.
It's just shocking. I mean, I personally can't dress it up. And we'll talk about Lopetegui in a minute, but I don't actually think he realises what he's walking into and the job he's walking into. And I'm changing my mind now because we think this team is better than it actually is. And we're looking at these signings of Nunes and Guedes and thinking they're better than they actually are. I know Nunes didn't play yesterday. Yes, Guedes got a goal. But for me, I mean, is Collins an upgrade on our defence from last season?
Yeah. You still there?
Sorry, yeah. I said, is Collins an upgrade on our defence from last season, Dave?
I think I think Collins is a very, very good player. He's a young player, you know, and I saw him putting a few good headers and tackles yesterday from behind the North Bank, and he was putting things about. I just think the problem isn't necessarily the two central defenders. I think the problem is wing backs playing as full backs, and they're getting exposed.
If you look at the defence yesterday, you got Semedo, who just went on a bit of a mad one. And then the other three defenders, Bueno, Collins and Kilman, are all very young. And for me, there's way, way, way too much experience in a four-man defence for a Premier League team.
I agree.
And it's showing. I don't think Collins is an upgrade at all on the defence we've had last season. Prepared to give him the benefit of the doubt. Prepared to listen to all the plaudits he was getting and what he did for Burnley last year, etc., in a relegated side. I'm not buying it. I'm not impressed at all. I'll just say as I see it.
I want to bring Paul in on this point and see your thought of you taking on from what Jason's been saying about the stats and the defence and stuff. What do you think on those comments, Paul?
I think probably somewhere in the middle of what Jason's saying and what the three previous guests were saying. My feeling as I went out the match yesterday was I felt jealous going away from that match, seeing everything that Brighton were that we're not. The energy, the closing down, the passing and moving, the creativity. They've gone and put 3 past Liverpool away. They've put 4 past Chelsea. And I think the gulf between us and them all of a sudden is really stark. And it's quite scary, actually. So, and they're not the only team as well. I've watched Newcastle today. I've watched Leicester last night, Fulham at the weekend as well. And it's quite scary how far superior these teams are to us at the moment. And it hurts to say that. And it hurts to say that you've walked out the match feeling jealous of watching another team. But they get the recruitment right as well, don't they, Brighton? They lost the manager and quickly got another highly rated manager in. They've got a lot of things going for them at the moment, and we haven't. And I think perhaps the issues run wider than just the 11 players on the pitch. But yeah, I can't sit here and say that was a good performance yesterday. But what I can say is that I think we did quite well to actually stay in the game, because at one point in the second half, you were thinking, okay, we've been backs against the wall. We haven't played that well, but we could actually pinch this 3-2. We wouldn't have really deserved it, I don't think.
We had the chance, didn't we? That one chance with Traore, and as we talked about earlier. If that was hit low and hard, it might have, at the near post, it could easily have gone in and been 3-2.
Exactly. So they deserve some credit for hanging on in there, however they did it, And I know watching the highlights back on Match of the Day, the only thing they could really show was Solly March's shot earlier on in the second half that Saul made a good save from. Other than that, I can't really recall them actually, clearances off the line or hitting the post or anything. So they do deserve some credit for keeping them at bay. But I think there was quite a big gulf in between the teams. And as Jason said, with the stats on the possession, I think that kind of backs up his point a little bit.
I think when you look at Brighton, I think you're like exactly what I said, and I've said this in the post-match reaction. I said it on my vlog. Their club is managed from top to bottom, brilliantly. The way it's run from boardroom, the way they reacted to the manager situation, their transfer policy, how they find the players, how they play football. They're a club that have steadily just going in that direction. Wolves were a club like that a couple of years ago, and it seems that they just turned the tap off and they stopped investing and then been making a series of very weird, strange decisions, and now we're in this position. And you know, when you get into a strong position, like last year, we were in fancy Europe, you know, and we could have invested and kicked on. I bet you Newcastle go and invest in the January window to try and push on to consolidate Europe. So really good point on that. Jason, I get your point on what you're making. The one thing that I took out the game yesterday, although I felt flat and I'm depressed, is the fact that looking back 2 games ago, the Leicester game, it looked like a team without any fight. I saw against Brentford last week. I thought we had some fight as for the shirt. I thought yesterday they played for the shirt. There wasn't really anyone that went missing as such. I don't know what your thoughts are on that.
Well, what we say about fight, Dave, we conceded a goal yesterday in the 83rd minute where we switched off. I mean, he's put the ball in the net. And there's 2 or 3 players that could have blocked that. So
I think it should have been blocked 5 or 6 times occasions.
So where is the fight? You can't fight for 82 minutes and then switch off in the 83rd. You can't switch off in the Premier League. Brighton are a good side. We've got to hope at the end of this season that there's 3 teams worse than us in the league. And right now, I can't see it. Lopetegui's got a massive job in his hand. Clearly, he's been given he'll be given funds to spend in January. That looks obviously a clear indication. There is no way with this team playing the way they are, with the mentality that they're in, are they going to stop up? Absolutely no way. Like I said, Brighton are a good side. You know, we can't take anything away from Brighton. We talk about the refs. We got a penalty yesterday, and I've seen them not given. You know, I have. Never's got a penalty the other week as well. So we are getting a rub of the green with the refs. We can't blame that. We're in this position because of serious mismanagement. When they shouldn't have got rid of Lage, in my opinion, until Lopetegui was about to be announced, right? So they might as well have kept him for these 4 games because he ain't doing any worse than Davis. So you either get the manager in place. I know we've spoke over this point before. We either get the manager in place the minute Lage is gone, or what have we done for the past 4 or 5 games?
I don't tend to concur with that point of view. I get what your point of view is, but Bruno Lage, after that Leicester game, his position was untenable. And
but Dave, and then look at the circus we've been on with all the managers that have rejected us, all the ones we've been linked with, all the unsettling. You know, in hindsight, unless there was someone else lined up, you might as well have stuck with him because we was more likely going to get points with him than we have to. And
I get you, but at that point, if he picks up a couple of wins and then, we'll stick with him again. It's like, and then I saw a team under Bruno Lage, and I've always tried to give him the excuses and the benefits of that. The game when he played Neves as a centre back against West Ham, I think Steve Davis, although he's an interim, they're playing more for him than they were playing for Bruno Lage.
I'm not blaming Steve Davis whatsoever, by the way, because he's been Terry Connor here and shook right under the bus. But I just think, look, for the benefit of hindsight, it's a fantastic thing. They should have had someone in lined up ready to take over from Lage. They should have had all this planned.
100% agree with that.
They should have had it all planned. But this could really, really now form our season. Yes, we've got Lage's backroom team coming in Tuesday. Lopetegui's backroom team coming in Tuesday. And Lopetegui's coming over next Friday. He's going to watch the Arsenal match. Likelihood is that's going to be a horror show. And then he's going to take over. Well, he's going to take over now, but his first game is going to be after the World Cup. Do you know what? You say we've got to win 8 games. Wow, that's a lot of work to do. A lot of work.
Paul, we'll come on to the game itself because we're talking about the new manager and everything, Julen Lopetegui. When the announcements were made, how are you feeling about that? You know, what do you think he's going to bring to the Wolves squad? How is he going to change that mentality? And do you believe he's the right man and he will ultimately end up keeping Wolves in this division and getting us playing again?
It's a great show of intent from the board. They've been criticised a lot, haven't they, lately? But I don't think anyone really can criticise this appointment. He's been manager. You have to say he's a world-class manager, because if you're manager of Spain or Real Madrid, that means you are world-class to get to that level. So I think, I've got a lot of high hopes, really, that he can work wonders and work wonders quickly. And I think the first thing he's got to do is make us hard to beat again. We started off the season quite tight at the back, and I think there was a stat fairly recently that we'd kept the second highest amount of clean sheets, but that seems to have really gone out the window last few games. And we're not going to outscore teams like 3 or 4-0. We're going to win games by nicking games. So I think his first job is to make us very difficult to break down, and then he's got to worry about the goals second. It's going back to basics, I think, really. I'm not going to say that he needs to go back to a back five or anything, because I do believe he can be solid with a back four. But that's his job that he's got to do: make us organised, difficult to beat, and make the players come together as a unit and have a very clear strategy or plan. We're not a pressing team. We're not a low block team. We're not a counter-attacking team. We're not a team that puts crosses in. We're not really a team that necessarily has great possession. So at the moment, I don't know what kind of team we are. And if he can make us into being a team with a clear identity and strategy early, that's great. But I think we have to be very patient, and we can't expect him just to sail in and then all of a sudden we get 2 or 3 wins on the bounce. As great as that would be, I don't think that's very likely. So he's got the best part of 2/3 of a season, hasn't he, to do that, and hopefully the success will come quickly, but we can't expect it overnight.
Well, we've got a tough run of fixtures as well after January. We've got some really tough fixtures coming up. I mean, the one good thing, the one positive I will take out of it, we're going into the World Cup break. It's not halfway through the season; it's a third of the way through the season. Obviously there's going to be players that are going to be obviously going to the World Cup, but other than that, he's going to be able to have almost a mini pre-season. I hope some of that's on fitness training and stuff like that, because I don't think the players have been as fit as I've seen under, say, Nuno, for example. They were super fit, and I'm not sure that the fitness levels have been quite there. I mean, looking into the transfer window, Jason, I think he's been given some money to spend. If you were Julen looking at bringing key players into key positions, where would you be looking to bring it?
For me, it's the spine of the team. I know people say Semedo gets pelters, Ain't Nori does as well. They're a bit inconsistent. This is what I hear and see. But with Semedo, I like Semedo. Right, I do. I like Ain't Nori as well. But wait, no, he's coming. He's looking good. Johnny, for me, is done. I mean, that the game against Leicester, Downing Tools on the pitch is just indefensible. Yeah. It needs to be the spine of the team. We need a centre half. I think we need someone with a little bit of experience, because you know what? You said
we need leaders, don't we, Jason?
I mean, you just quite rightly said, Dave, that we've got a difficult run in. Dave, we've got a difficult run in every game this season, because pretty much every team that we play is above us in the table. So every team we play, it's going to be a difficult game. So to me, we need to get a spine down the team. Moutinho's not going to last forever. Neves is on his way. I'm quite happy with this on the forwards and the wings, but I'd say experienced centre half. We need a central midfielder, and we also need a centre forward. I mean, the centre forward thing, I can't even flipping talk about that, because that just makes me mad.
Mate, I feel exactly. I think most Wolves fans are frustrated as hell about how we're in this situation.
Not only we're not scoring goals, now we're shipping them in the other end, and all this. We had a great defensive record and all this. It's gone. We haven't got it anymore. We're shipping. 4 goals at home against Leicester, 3 goals at home yesterday. So we can't dress up that we've had the best clean sheet record and all that. I ain't buying it. I'm not criticising you, Paul. Once again, the stats don't lie. But right now, honestly, we're proper in it. I'm really worried, and I'm the biggest happy clapper going. You know that, Dave. You look at me.
Well, I think we're all generally pretty positive. I'm the same, and I've got to be honest, mate. After the game yesterday, I was depressed. I was depressed. I was thinking, when are we going to get our next win? It's hard to see.
Just to touch upon the fitness day, Brighton scored yesterday just before half time. It was switching off. We've only got 40 minutes in the tank, both halves. And then obviously they get the winner in the 83rd. And like you said, we could have had 4, 5, 6 blocks on that.
It's frustrating. Paul, where would you bring someone in? Would you agree with Jason, or would you look at a slightly different position?
I agree with all that Jason said. I mean, we've needed a number 9 or someone who can complement Jimenez for 3 or 4 years, and that's a major reason for why we've regressed so much. For me, we're desperate for a right back as well, because I agree with Jason.
I agree with that totally. We need a proper full back if we're going to play 4 at the back.
Yeah, 100%.
I think Johnny's gone physically and probably mentally as well, and Semedo's costing us quite frequently as well. And how that bloke has played over 100 games for Barcelona and commanded a 30 million transfer fee, I don't know. So yeah, I'd agree with
George Mendes will know.
Yeah, he'll know. Yeah, it's funny how he was involved.
I just don't think the likes of Johnny Otto and Semedo suit a back 4. They kind of work in a back 5 when they've got that extra cover behind them. But in a back 4, but the one thing that I've got to say, Hugo Bueno, he hasn't got any near the experience that they've got, and yet he doesn't seem to make the same mistakes that they're making. He seems positional play, the way he just seems.
I'd say the answer for me to that, Dave, is I think the other players are playing under pressure. I think Rhino's coming to it. He can't really lose effectively, can he? I mean, he's coming into a team near the bottom of the league. He's a young player. We can't, obviously, he's going to be blameless. He got off to a flying start, so his confidence is running high. But then you look at Kilman yesterday in possession when he's distributing the ball. He's gone from a player who would play out from the back, who would move with the ball, who would bring the midfield into play. And he was just doing a bit of hoofing sometimes. You could see he was a bit panicky and a bit rushed in possession. And I think that's all to do with confidence. So, listen, Bueno's had a fantastic, Bueno, whatever it is. He's had a fantastic start for me. But listen, he's a young lad. And listen, they're going to make mistakes. And I just think with the 3 out of the 4 at the back being so young and inexperienced, that is a real worry for me.
We need a leader, and we got rid of our leader. I mean, there's that Dawson incident from West Ham. They might go back in for him. He wants to come back to the Midlands, doesn't he, where his family's from and stuff like that.
I was arguing with a lad on Twitter all morning, and he just wouldn't go away. And in the end, I had to tell him to go and play on his Xbox. He just go, Cody, he was a crack defender, all this. Once again, it's not just the defending, it's the leadership qualities, and we miss it massively. I've said it before, Dave. That armband is weighing Ruben Neves down, right? With Cody, he gives us so much more than just being a defender. People have got to see that. And they're going, no, we don't want cheerleaders in the team. No, that's not what he is. They don't get it. We are. That defence is no better for losing Cody, right? And that is just look at it. Anyway, I'm going to stop ranting now.
No, I think it's exactly right. Paul, let's go on to the game itself. Let's just analyse in terms of the performance rating, your man of the match and your highlight of the day.
I can't give it higher than a 5, and maybe that's even been generous. The fact that we managed to stay in the game for so long with 10 men and still offer a little bit of threat deserves a bit of credit. Scoring 2 goals as well was a bonus that we haven't seen very much of. So I'll give it a 5. That's my max I can give it. My man of the match is Guedes. Where's that kind of performance been since Tottenham away?
Maybe he wants to get into the Portuguese World Cup squad.
You can't just turn it on and off when you feel like it, though. Top players turn out top performances week after week.
Yeah.
If he wants to be a top player, he can't just play well 1 in 10 matches. He's got to be playing well pretty much every week. So he's obviously got something there. He's got pace. He's got desire when he wants to. and he can finish as well. So it was great to see that yesterday, and hopefully that's going to kickstart his career with us a bit. My highlight of the day was I was actually working on Saturday morning, and it came through on my phone that we'd agreed with Lopetegui. So that was a highlight for me. Put an end to all this circus about managers, and credit to the board for going and recruiting a real top class manager, because if he can't save our season, I don't know who can.
And you have to give them credit, because they have got Julen Lopetegui. When they said about Steve Davis staying in charge, I think we all knew then, right, they're waiting for, after Beale, they're waiting for Lopetegui to come in, and we've got him. But like what Jason said, it's the uncertainty in the meantime is not great. Hopefully he'll come in and he'll stamp his authority. And there's a long way to go in the season. There's still 72 points to play for. There's a long way to go. Jason, your performance rating, man of the match, and
performance rating for man of the match for me, and I'll just give it you week in, week out. He's just consistent for me. He's been one of the best players I've ever seen in a Wolves shirt, and we've had far too long of his career, and we're very lucky. Ruben Neves. And moment of the match, Guedes scoring a goal in open play. But he's massively under-delivered so far, Guedes. And I can't buy all this once again. Oh, he's got to take time to adjust and all this. Paul's just hit the nail on the head. A top player, or players who want to be perceived to be top players, perform week in, week out consistently. They might have one bad game in 9 or 10. Yeah, if that. But they can consistently perform week in, week out. We haven't seen that from him. He's got a goal. Hopefully he's a confidence player and he'll go on a run from here on in. And we'll see more of him, and we'll see the best of him.
Absolutely. That's some great points, mate. We're going to bring on the wheel now, just for a bit of fun.
Well, if I'm invisible, I'm robbing a bank. Simple as that.
Robbing a bank. I like it. Can you see it on the screen?
Yep.
Yeah.
Right, we're spinning. Let's see if he comes up with something we've not done. We've done this one, so we're not doing that one. I will get this updated for after the World Cup. Here's a new one. Have you ever seen a ghost, and do you believe in ghosts?
Can I jump in, Paul?
Yep.
No. No. I'll tell you what, quite an interesting story, really. So Jody Craddock, massive ghost hunter, right? So he took me to a place called Drakelow Tunnels. I don't know if anyone's ever heard of it. And he's well into the paranormal, Jody. So we went down Drakelow Tunnels and we went ghost hunting. And honestly, there was things happening there I can't even explain. And that particular night, it was years ago, I'd just met Amy and she wasn't stopping at mine that night. And I got home and I was terrified. And I got both my grands sleeping upstairs with me on the bed.
That's mad, that is. Jody Craddock likes his paranormal.
He loves it. So I've been to 4 or 5 with him where basically as he's ghost hunting. And we've been to Shrewsbury Prison. We've been to an old courthouse in West Brom. We've been to an old disused pub in Cannock, Drakelow Tunnels. We've been to some fantastic places, and it's really, really good fun.
Well, one of my customers, interestingly enough, is a paranormal investigator, and they've got a haunted place in Stafford. They do a YouTube thing on it as well, where they've got the cameras and things move and stuff in the night and stuff like that. So I'll talk to you about that, because if Jody's interested in getting in to that, we can get him in.
To be honest, Dave, Wolves' defence had 4 ghosts in it yesterday, so I couldn't see anyone.
Well, I was wondering whether you were going to do that, to be honest. I mean, for definite. Paul, yourself?
I'll keep this really simple and really boring. No. I don't believe.
I've got a story then. Because I know, Chris, there's a few that have gone about. When I was a kid, right, and I was young, obviously I'd been a kid, you would be, but like, I remember being in my bed and then the curtains opening and this white thing coming through the curtain, and it really freaked me out. But the next day I went into the garage because because my mum and dad told me to get something. There was this big bag of clothes in the corner, and it basically spoke to me. It like went, "Don't run away, don't be frightened," it said. And I flipping was scared and I ran out. It scared the living daylights out of me. It was like really, really scary. But yeah. So
well, we can't top that, Dave.
I know. It's like going to Wolves every week, isn't it? It's scary.
Flipping is, tell you.
Anyway, guys, thank you so much.
Can you just say, Dave, sorry if I was so despondent tonight. Sorry for sounding...
No. So I feel.
I'm just getting, I'm getting quite nervous and twitchy about it. It's fantastic that Lopetegui is coming in, and if he can't give us the kick up the backside we need, I don't know who can. And he's got a fantastic pedigree. It is a real statement of intent. I'm excited about that part, but we've got to hit the ground running. There's no time for 2 or 3 games to adjust and all this. He's got to hit the ground running. So, sorry, guys. I'll try and have a smile on my face next time.
Whilst we're on that, just before you both go, what are your thoughts on Leeds and Arsenal? Go with you first, Paul.
I can't sit here and say that. How can anyone sit here and say we're going to win? But football's a strange game, and sometimes strange results happen. Do you remember when we first got promoted in 2003? And I think Man United came to town. And Kenny Miller scored, and we beat them 1-0. No one saw that coming, did they? But I can't say with confidence we're going to win either of those games, but especially the Arsenal one, you never know. But I think the Leeds game, we should go with every intention of trying to win. I don't buy this, we don't want fixture congestion, we don't want the extra games or whatever. Winning breeds confidence, winning's a habit, and we need a win in any way, shape or form we can get one at the moment.
I agree with this.
I'd take a dirty, scrappy 1-0 on Wednesday and get us through to the next round.
I agree. If you start scoring goals and winning, I think, Jason, final words from you on that?
Lose. Ta-ra, Dave.
All right, guys. See you on the next one.
See you next Monday, probably.
See you, boys. Love it.
See ya.
Oh, that's great. Great YouTube stuff. I hope you're enjoying this, guys, tonight. If you are, please smash a like on the YouTube channel. If you're listening back on the podcast, let's see whether we can get over 100 likes. We're bringing on, for the final section of the show, we've got Nathan and we've got Sam, who's basically sitting on the top of Molyneux at the moment and stuff like that. So, yeah, and if you do want to comment, just to let you know, if you do want to comment on the actual show itself, then all you have to do is be a subscriber and you can comment in the chat with everyone else as well. So that would be amazing. Guys, welcome to the show. How are you, Nath? How are you, Sam?
What can we say? After yesterday's performance, we were down. I have to say, Dave, like yourself, I play football for a team. I've been out all afternoon playing football. We're top of the league tonight, and it's all because of pressurising players and playing out from the back, which everybody says is a no-no. So it worked today for us. We won 3 out of our 4 fixtures. So
is that the disability of the
just so everybody knows, Wolves Disability Academy is set up for people that have got varying range of disabilities. Everybody knows I've had cancer and I've got a few other issues, so I've been allowed to play. My son plays for them. He's played for them since he was a youngster, so I've watched him go all the way through. And when I asked if it was possible to play this year, they said yes. I've got another operation coming up, and very soon I needed to lose a couple of stone of weight, and I've done it. And it's all thanks to them. So, but I'm getting back to being fit again and running around and chasing balls from defence to actually scoring up in the attack today.
Well done, mate. It's good to hear. And Nathan, how was your weekend?
Well, ruined, obviously. After that performance, I'm pretty much with Jace, I think, in terms of being despondent, and I don't get all this rose-tinted. Oh, didn't we play well? And 6 out of 10, and there weren't many positives to pick out yesterday at all. And I think Brighton, one of the guys mentioned it. Brighton were on a different level. They're so far ahead of us now. You watch the interplay of the front three there with March. Who's the other guy? Trossard. Just phenomenal. The way they've pinged it around the front. We are so far away from that, and it's so depressing to watch. And I've been a happy clapper in the last few games. I've been going, there's no chance we're going to go down. There are so many games left, but you wonder where the points are coming from, because even with 11 men on the pitch, even with 12 men on the pitch yesterday, we wouldn't have beaten Brighton. They would have gone up another gear, and we're so far away from where we should be at the moment. And Lopetegui has got a hell of a job to come in. So the short answer, Dave, is not happy.
Brighton, and you have to say they're a very good footballing side. They're a very well managed side, across the very well structured. They're where we want to be, really, aren't they? We want to be playing entertaining football at the top end of the table, exciting, scoring goals. And like you say, we're a million miles away from that at the moment. Sam, do you think that...
We've lost you for a second, Dave.
How are you feeling about the appointment?
I just don't think the guy will get us out of the problem. I've said it all along. I didn't think he was the right guy. The fact he's turned us down twice, and this is the third time that Jeff and co have gone back to him, I think it just reeks of desperation, and I'm persuading a guy to come to somewhere he doesn't want to be. And I can see the situation will turn sour by the middle of the second half of the season.
That is quite doom and gloom. Now I'm going to come back, because it's my job, and say the first time he was coming, Spain, his national team came in and asked him to be manager. You can't expect him to say no to that. And he just left Sevilla, having been there for a long, long time, obviously. And from what I've heard about, but the Spanish journalist that talked about it, he was quite an intense manager, coming out of a managerial situation for 3.5 years. Also, his dad was really, really poorly. He's had 5 or 6 weeks. He's re-energized. His dad's a lot better. You can understand him saying no at that point. And now his dad's improved, and he's obviously had a bit of a break, and he's re-energized. And obviously, Wolves have probably... He's basically said to them, I need you to back me in the transfer window. I want to bring in my own team. I want to come in on my terms. I want to have more control over the decisions made from the sporting side. If that's happened, you can kind of go, well, yeah, that's fine. I want someone.
But do you really think that that's happened? He's coming he's coming under the title of head coach again. So he's not going to be given his own reins to do what he wants. I
don't think any manager should be given the free rein to sign who they like. But I think that if there's a player that a manager wants, who knows and thinks he can add, they should try and help in that. I think it's a team.
He's already said that there's 2 players that he wants. A couple of them have passed over the screen tonight. But are we going to give him £250 million? Because that's what it's going to take. We need a squad rebuild, not just a fullback, not just a midfielder, and not 2 attackers. We need a team rebuild.
Wolves are not going to be able to spend £250 million because of FFP. It's not going to happen. But I can see that the purse strings are going to be a bit more loose. The one striker that they've been talking about, I think the Real Madrid striker, I think he's coming towards the end of his contract. He probably won't cost Wolves a lot. It's one of them. So,
Okay, but the big thing is here, with the situation we're in now, we do need proven Premier League players. We don't need players that are coming out of Spanish leagues, Portuguese leagues. We need players that on November the 14th, when Lopetegui is in place on the training ground, trying to look at his players, he needs to know who's coming in January and where he's going to start building the team up again. Because at the moment, after the last 2 performances, and I said it earlier on my comments, in 53 years of going to Wolves games, I've never walked out of a game early. So far this month, I've walked out of 2 games early. I was livid at the last one when Vardy put his goal in, and his antics in front of the North Bank, they were disgusting.
Vardy does that every time. He fouling thing. And
he commented on social media about 2 people that sit either side of me, and I certainly hope it goes a little bit further. But I'll tell you this week, I mean, it just absolutely flabbergasted me when Grob was allowed to get through to put that third goal in for them. There was just nothing on it, and I just think the defence is lacking.
I want to come back in and I want to get Nathan's view. Obviously, this is where we like having you on, Sam. You always say what you think, which is great. You know, and it's my job to counter those arguments and come back to you. Let's see what Nathan has to say on what your points, because obviously you don't believe that Lopetegui is the right man because he's turned us down and stuff like that. Nathan, what's your view on the appointment?
I think I said this a couple of weeks ago, Dave. There's no such thing as the perfect appointment. You know, to take Sam's point, all right, he's turned us down before, but I think there are legitimate reasons for that, Sam. And he comes with a fantastic record from Spain, Sevilla, and Porto. All right, he failed at Real Madrid, but so many great coaches have failed at Real Madrid. So I think it's a fantastic appointment. I don't care that it could be the 7th time of asking. He's finally got here, and that's the main thing. You know, we do need help. I don't agree that we need an entire squad rebuild. I take your point, Sam, that we are pretty pathetic at the moment, but there are a lot of good players in that team. We do need strength. Now, I agree with Jace. You know, maybe a central defender, a fullback. My God, do we need a striker? And we're starting to see with Traore, Neves in the middle, there's a bit of steel there, and I think you probably need one other. Now, whether Nunes becomes that player, I don't know. Moutinho's on his last legs, so you definitely need someone in that position. But who else is out there? You know, there's no such thing as a perfect coach unless you Pep, Alex Ferguson. You know, there just aren't many out there. So I was quite happy with the appointment. I'm chuffed that he's finally going to get here. But my God, he's got a hell of a task on his hands because, you know, I was only talking yesterday about the last time I left a match early was Sheffield United in '95, where we were 2-0 down. And I think we scored 2 equalisers and I was already out the ground. And I vowed never to leave a match early. And for 25 years, whatever that is, I've never left a match early. But yesterday I could have quite happily left after, you know, that winner went in because we were never going to get back in the game. So I think it's a good appointment. I disagree with you, Sam. I think I'm happy to see him come.
This is what we like, debate on the channel. This is what it's all about. Because at the end of the day, football is always a game of opinions. And the one thing that we've all got in common is that we bleed gold and black through and through, and we just want our team to be successful. And when things are not going well, of which they haven't, it's not just this season. You look at last season, it's depressing. I mean, I've never left a game early either. You know, I've always stayed to the end, no matter what. Although sometimes you think, what's the point? Because you never know. I mean, that Villa game last year, typical point in case. I had my niece's husband that went to the game. He left with 20 minutes to go. And I was going, why are you leaving? It's like 20, 25 minutes to go. Oh, it's crap. And he missed the biggest comeback, one of the best days of ever, when we won 3-2. With what a day that was. You look at Villa today; they've got their new manager. You know, they're beating United. They're on the up. They're positive. And you look at Leicester; they've turned it around. And we're still waiting for Wolves to turn it around. The squad is not the worst squad in the league. Are the 3 worst teams? I think Bournemouth will probably end up going down. I think Forest. I think Southampton have got rid of their manager today. We've got, make no mistake, this guy Julen Lopetegui is an elite manager. He's an elite manager, and he's got a lot of experience. Some people say, "Oh, he'll get us out of the Championship." I don't think he'd want to put his reputation on the line coming to Wolves if he didn't think that there's going to be backing and he didn't think he could do it. And he's got his team, so I am hopeful. I really do believe that we'll stay up come the end of the season. But I am a happy clapper. But at the moment, am I depressed? Yes. Am I fed up? Yes. Do I know where that's why I was so down yesterday, because I thought we could have won that game at 2-1, but we didn't. It conspired against us and we lost. And it's just like, when are we going to win a game? And that's what it's like. But do you take Nathan's points on what he said there?
Yeah, I can live with what people are saying about some of the things he's done. I just don't think he's the right person for us at this point in the moment. I just can't see where we'll go unless. Well, this is the problem at the moment. I've mentioned several people I would think would be managers, not head coaches, but we only want to appoint head coaches, so they don't want to come. So it sort of blows you out what you're thinking. I mean, I've chatted with some of the people that do coaching at Wolves today, and they said there's been quite a bit of animosity in the dressing room. A couple of players that are sort of bringing it down. So there was something there. I think that was another reason with Larg that the dressing room was lost. So he was never going to be staying. Really, he should have gone at the end of last season, and they should have replaced in the summer to bring somebody in fresh with that transfer window. But who we've got now wouldn't come then. We've gone back. He's come yet, and I can fully understand that his dad was ill, etc. But he's coming. Let's see what he does. But we do need a big spend. I don't care about FFP and all of that. They'll find their way around it, like they've done with their loans that they've taken out, etc. And shelving off the players that are here. They'll offset it, and they'll do something. But we're gonna have to wait and see. But I think come November the 14th, he's in there, and half the squad's away with X, Y, and Z national teams.
How many players are away though? Really,
I think there's 6. I think there's 7 players in the first team now that possibly will be away.
Neves, Moutinho.
Yeah.
Well,
I think Sarr will be gone. But I think there's some others that are on the fringes that they've been talking about. Is Guedes going to be gone?
3 players that definitely will probably go.
Yeah, well, you don't know if they'll go and then they won't be played. This is what I always find. It was like Cody being picked when he was with us, and then he only got 2 games, but he was brilliant in the dressing room for England, and that's why Southgate was picking him. I can't say that was the right thing at the time to let him go to Everton. I think we hark back even further, and I think it was at the end of Nuno's reign when players like Jota were let go. Matt Doherty was let go down to Spurs. It started to drop apart then, and it's just continued.
The thing I would say about that, Sam, I get your point, because we'd all love Jota and Doherty. They knew the system. Both these players wanted to go.
Matt Doherty didn't want to go.
Jota wanted to go, and we got 45 million. At the time, he wasn't even making it. He was only sitting on the bench. Doherty had been here for 10 years. We paid 80,000 for him, and we got X amount. And, he was a great servant, but he's never really established himself properly at Tottenham either. But you can't blame him after 10 years that he wanted a new challenge. So I get what you're saying, but when the players want to go, do you want players that want to be here or not?
We want players that want to be here at the moment. Again, we've got players that don't want to be here. Now, we've mentioned one already in the evening, Traore. He's had a couple of good games in my mind. I don't see him putting the team on fire again. He has 10 minutes of a decent run, puts a couple of good crosses in, and then forgets to chase off the ball. He's just lost. Now, my mind, he's still got his mindset that he doesn't want to be here.
Well, I've been told different by someone that spoke to Traore that he does want to be here, but...
Well, let's hope he continues to improve then under Lopetegui.
But he's saying on that contract, maybe Lopetegui will come in. It's a grand... The good thing with Lopetegui coming in, right, and stuff like this, and Nathan, you probably agree, he's going to come in, everyone's going to be basically having a fresh start. He knows the likes of Neves, he's brought him through, he's going to command respect. When Nuno used to walk into the dressing room and stuff like that, the place would go quiet. He had that level of authority about him. I don't think Bruno Lage was much of a man manager. I think Lopetegui was a man manager. Steve Davis and all of them, they're good guys. They love the club. They've done the best that they can. But obviously, they're from within the club at the moment. He comes in with a completely clean broom, and he's got his guys coming in on Tuesday. They'll be doing some of the groundwork. Obviously, he'll arrive on Friday, and then he'll be taking over. So hopefully, that's going to be a complete reset. And what we need is a change of mentality within the squad. If, right, what you're saying, there are players there that are negative, because if you've got bad apples within the thing, it drags the rest down, doesn't it?
I think we'll see him. Yeah, I think we'll see him not play the ones that are showing the negativity. I think he'll bench them, will not even give them a bench place. I think he's the sort of guy that will be that cutthroat. And come the January transfer window, they'll be transfer listed. So Nathan, hopefully he'll do that.
Nathan, talking about January, what who do you think he's going to be looking to bring in? What sort of what would you be looking to in the squad? Where do we need that help?
It's a terrible time to transfer players in. Full stop. Good teams don't let good players go. Certainly in the Premier League, and it's always a tough challenge to get decent players in, especially strikers. I can't remember many times years gone by that we brought a striker in. Maybe a Phobie, I think we brought in the January transfer, but certainly not many that you can say yes, they're playing well. So I kind of disagree with Sam on the Traore point, because I think, looking at the stats at the moment, he's one of the best crossers in the Premier League. Yes, he's not always going to track back and he loses the ball, but you want someone who's direct, who's going to run at the opposition, and we just haven't got that in the team. Neto was doing it in fits and starts. You mentioned Jota. When Jota left, he was playing 1 in every 6 games, decent. He just could not be bothered. You could tell he wanted to move, and I was quite glad to see him gone, to be honest. Doherty, on the other hand, I was really gutted, because I think he was such a Wolves lad through and through.
He was like a 7 or 8 out of 10 every game.
He is. But if someone's going to double or triple your wages, and you are going on to the next level, if you're going onto one of the big 4 or 6 teams, you'd be mad not to. So for him to go down there, and it's not worked out brilliantly. He's still in and out of the team. I'd have him back tomorrow, to be honest, if we could. If we're going to play that system again, if we're going to, I think Julen is all about a 3, isn't he? From what I've seen, a sort of pressing game. He'd be fantastic in that spell. We need to bin off Semedo. We need to bin off Johnny. Johnny's been the worst player this season in a gold shirt. He's been dreadful. So we need to replace those two.
And he was always consistent, wasn't he, Johnny?
Yeah. He was, like you mentioned, Doherty being the 7 or 8. Johnny was that man. He was always very consistent, but since the injury, he's just not come back the same player. And, it's really sad to see. A bit like Jimenez, sometimes it's just a player's time. You've got to move them on. So, January is going to be tough to strengthen, but we've got to find those nuggets. And you look at the Brighton team yesterday, and they've got players in there, like the Japanese international at the back. Man of the match for me. It was phenomenal. He had Semedo in his pocket the whole game. And yes, it was a red card. It was a nailed-on red card for Semedo. Anybody who says anything different, you're watching a different game. He ran after him, and he literally grabbed him round the waist and brought him. And he was last man. So he's off. It's red card. So
it's always going to be a red card.
Always going to be a red card. So it's difficult, isn't it? I wish we were coming into a summer transfer, but this ridiculous World Cup in the middle of a season isn't going to help anyone. And we have got a lot more players going than you think. The Collins, Neves. You probably have Nunes go. I don't know if Semedo's on the fringes of the Portuguese team.
South Korea.
I don't know, Dave.
Yeah.
I'd like to think, he's got money to spend in January, but teams are going to know we're going to have money, and it's going to be very tricky to get those good players. But they're just going to have to find something, because we need those 7 or 8 wins before the end of the season. And, we're not going to beat Arsenal. We're probably going to lose against Leeds, which will be a blessing, because let's get out of that League Cup and just focus on the league. I don't really care about the cups. I just want to stay in the Premier League.
Yeah. What's your thoughts on Ait-Nouri then, how he's been playing?
I like Ait-Nouri. He's just defensively, he's been pathetic at times. Yeah. Go back to last season when he had Salah in his pocket, that Liverpool game. I mean, that's his best game.
That was his best game, by far.
You take him off, you bring on, what's his name, the Dutch kid. Who got absolutely trolleyed by Lage, which was pathetic. You don't do that to your own player. And then we lost the game.
He started to lose the dressing room then. That's when he did that. It all started going downhill at that point.
And I think sending Cody out, I know we've gone on about Cody time and time again on here, but that backfired massively. Sending Cody out to one of your Premier League rivals, a leader, an absolute leader. He might not be the greatest centre-back the club's ever seen, but he's one of the greatest leaders the club's ever seen. Phenomenal on the pitch. And you'll know, Sam, how great he was in the dressing room.
Yeah.
Where's that voice now? Where's that voice? We've got Neves as captain, who's a bit more of a quieter character. We've got, as Jace alluded to, we've got a very inexperienced back four. No real senior player there to, vocalise what should be happening on the pitch. We lack that leadership in and out of the dressing room at the moment, and that's a real worry. if I was going to bring in my manager, and before we appointed Lopetegui, it was a certain ginger lad who managed Burnley for 10 years. We need to be able to manage upwards, and that bloke would have come in, took the club by the scruff of the neck. The football might not have been the most magnificent football we'd ever seen, but we'd have stayed in this league, and he wouldn't have been scared to vocalise what was going on with Scott Sellers and
that's right.
The whole board.
Julen Lopetegui is going to be a bit like that, because I don't think he's come in as a yes man. I think he's played hardball because he wants to be a success. And I think he's got his way with what he wanted. And obviously the proof will be in the pudding. But I think, like you say, managing upwards is quite an important thing. And he comes in quite now. They need him to be a success, because if he's not, all their heads are on the line. So I think he comes in a strong position to be able to dictate a little bit more than the likes of, say, Bruno Lage. And go on, Sam.
I think his first thing he's got to do, he's got to change the mentality. It's as simple as that. That's going to go a long way, regardless of who the players are. Mentality as you walk onto a pitch or how you train sets up how you are on a Saturday or a Sunday when you're actually playing your match. And if you're not training correctly and your mindset isn't in that you want to go out and win, you don't win. So it's as simple as that.
Yeah, I'd echo that, Sam. I think for me, the players at the moment look half a yard off the pace from where they were last season. You could, and from what I've heard the same.
What I talked about earlier about the fitness levels, that don't seem as fit.
No, I don't think they've been training as hard. I think there's something changed in the training pattern with Larg. Nuno obviously was doing something different. I liked previously, and I heard this on the grapevine, whenever we lost, players didn't get the Sunday off. They had to go in at 7:30 and they had to train for 4 hours, and they weren't allowed to get out of that. That was a set rule. If they won, they could have the Sunday off, but they'd still got to do work at home. So whether that was they were going for a run or whether that was weights or whatever doing, they were still having to work at home and keep their fitness up. I think Lopetegui will come in, and I think it'll be, you're going to be in at 7:30 on the morning, lads, and you're going to be working till 2:00 in the afternoon.
I think this is exactly what we need. The stuff with Bruno, where it was, and they're like flying off. He had a car waiting, and he wanted to go straight away, and all these days off that they had and stuff like this. When you're losing, it's like you need to. The discipline level has got to be set from the manager straight away. And apparently Lopetegui is quite an intense manager, which is why he wanted the break to obviously see his father. He's been in an intense job and he's quite intense. I think we need that. I think you need someone that's going to grab be quite a disciplinarian, but also a manager that can put an arm around a player's shoulder at the same time if they need it. Someone that has got a bit of empathy. We also need someone, and I hope he will, connect with the fans. And from the way he was with the Sevilla fans and how the reaction that they've got, I think he'll have that as well.
Yeah, hopefully he can do that both ways. I said, but as we've all said, it's going to be an absolutely huge task, and not knowing the league, I think that's the downside of it. But as Nathan said, yes, I fully understand his record with the Spanish team was good, etc. He got a Europa League trophy with Sevilla. Obviously, that's all there, and that's what we've been aspiring to. So, okay, given the time, given the transfer window, let's see what happens by the end of January. Who's come in and who hasn't come in, and let's see if those. This is my worry. I did put on there earlier the fixtures. We've got Everton away. We've got Man United home, Villa away, West Ham home, and Man City away. Unless he can get us some points out of something in those games, I think that will have just set the tone for the remaining 4 months of the season. And they are all hard games. There's nobody in there I could say at the moment we could beat. And I don't care what anybody else. I can't see us winning any of those games if we're carrying on as we are now. So whatever he does in this fortnight, when he comes in, and then through the period when the players are out at the World Cup, is going to set the tone for that game against Everton.
I have a feeling they're going to be coming back a lot fitter. a lot more organised, a lot more. And in some ways, it's a reset for the season. They're going to come back, and the season almost starts again. Let's talk about the game yesterday. Any points? Anything that strikes you, Nathan, on the game? Your performance rating, man of the match, and your highlights.
Yeah, I think it's probably been said by most people. I think Guedes was a bit of a breath of fresh air. I think just before he made that run, I said to the guy next to me, Guedes doesn't look fit. He doesn't look sharp. Oh, look, he's gone on a run and scored. And, fair play, he stayed on his feet. I think, as you mentioned, Dave, that could have been a pen, could have been a sending off, but he stayed on his feet. And he had a decent game. Hauling Pedence off at half-time, I think, was a strange choice for me. Yeah. There were other players on the pitch I think could have gone before him. I get the Hwang thing, we all get on his back because he's not scored, but he was completely out of position and he did his best, but he doesn't offer this team a hell of a lot, to be honest. And he's as good as we've got at the moment. So I knew we'd start with Hwang in that kind of centre point, but I'd have brought Traore on a lot sooner. I know he was fatigued from what I heard from Davis, but I think he could have been introduced a lot quicker onto that pitch. As soon as Semedo went off, I'd probably brought him on rather than mix it around and bring Johnny, because Johnny offers 0. So, man of the match, Guedes, rating out of 10, 2, I think, at best. I think we were pathetic at times. We are so disorganised. I mentioned earlier, Brighton are on a completely different level to us at the moment. They could have gone up a gear and beat us any time, I think. I know that second half, we managed to quell them a little bit and play a little bit more defensive, but we didn't really look that threatening. Brighton didn't look that threatening until the goal, really, but they were head and shoulders above us. And that's the problem. As you mentioned, Sam, there are no easy games. You can say West Ham, you can say Bournemouth, you can say any of these teams. At the moment, we don't look like beating any of them. We've got nothing up front. We scored, yesterday was the first time we scored 2 in a game. We scored 6 goals in total. It's woeful. It's pathetic.
Well, we scored 8. I think it's 8 goals in total, and we scored 25% in the first half yesterday.
Pathetic.
What was your highlight? Did you say your highlight of the day?
Highlight? It's probably, I had a really good Bovril, and it was really good. Yeah, it was really good. Guedes' goal.
I fancied one myself, to be honest.
I always take a Bovril with me, to be honest. I'm a little bit of an old man. I might as well take a blanket, but I always have a flask and a Bovril, and I don't have to move at half time. It's all very, very pleasant. I've been doing that for about 35 years now. So, Guedes, highlight, 2 out of 10. But, with Arsenal coming next in the league, it's scary watching Arsenal at the moment. They are incredible to watch. Sam, they are brilliant.
Give us your take.
Right. Highlight yesterday, Neves scoring his penalty. It was right in front of us. So what can we say about that?
Yeah, you sent me the video. It's a good video you took. Yeah, that,
we all went mental. That was about the highlight of the day. Rating, I'm with you, Nathan. I think 2 is actually flattering them. I really do. If they'd have showed a bit more passion, I think it would have been 2. I'm being harsh.
I know you're saying 2. I think that's very, very. I mean, you're entitled to opinion, but I think it's very harsh because I didn't see anyone hiding yesterday. I thought they fought for the shirt. Okay, the quality and those mistakes. Even with 10 men, they were battling and trying to get something out of it. And I think giving it 2, for me, is a little harsh, boys.
I don't think it is. I'm totally with Nathan on what he's done there.
No,
and I think exactly the same as him. I'm sorry. Last week, I wouldn't have even given them 1. It was that dire. So to give them 2 this week, they've improved. So if they can get a 3 against Arsenal...
I tell you what, we don't want you jugging on Strictly Come Dancing, you two. You'd be like Craig Webber-Horde, would you?
Too right. Too many heel toes. No, I think against Arsenal next week, unless we come out on our front foot right from the start and press, but we need to be leaving a bit more strong in defence, I think they could get 5 or 6 goals easily. And I don't see us getting anything out of it. I've got to say... Sorry, I lost my sound there. I could tell it had gone. I've got to say that I think the groundsman didn't do a great job yesterday. I don't know whether you saw all the divots in front of the goal at half time. Right. They were still there. They didn't sort that out. So that wasn't helping us. But what else can we blame it on? Too much water on the pitch. All these things have come out in the past. The long and short of it is we didn't turn up. And that's the only thing you can say. We gave it a little bit of a go in the first half. Heads went down. We should never have taken Podence off, Nathan. You were totally right with that. I'm sorry, from my mind, regardless of whether Traore was tired or not, he should have actually started at the beginning, because the only thing that does do good for us is it takes 2 of the Brighton players out, because there's always 2 on him being marked. So when we went down to 10 men, we'd have been all right. We'd have still been playing against a level team. But it's what it was. Wangy Chan, I'd wang him back to where he came from, because he certainly ain't got a Chan in him. And I think that sums it up for me.
Well, guys, this is really helping, doing my mental health a load of good. Anyway, I'm going to ask you the question. I think I know what the answers are. Leeds and Arsenal. Nathan.
Yeah, sorry, Dave. We're not going to get anything from Arsenal. We know that. They're going to... You never know. These miracles happen, but we're not, are we? We're going to get trashed. It could, if we can lose 4-0 to Leicester, we can certainly lose 4-0 to Arsenal. Leeds, it depends what Leeds team Jesse Marsh puts out, and how seriously we're taking it. But they're no great shakes at the moment, and you can see that. You can see that maybe drawing or does it go to pens in the first games? Does it even go to a replay?
It will go.
It goes straight to
It'll
pens.
go to penalties.
No extra time.
There's no extra time. No, straight to penalties.
So straight to pens. But no, I don't know. I don't really care about the League Cup. I know that's horrible. In years gone by, when we're doing well in the league, I really enjoy a League Cup run. FA Cup semi-final with my brother down to Wembley. One of the highlights of my Wolves' life, I think.
Until the last 10 minutes.
So again, Dave. Apart from the last 10 minutes. Yeah, as we know. So no, I don't think we'll get anything out of either, to be honest.
Sam?
I'm just waiting to see, and unfortunately this is all doom and gloom, I'm just waiting to see the first team reach double figures against us, and I think it'll be Arsenal if we don't do something serious this week.
You reckon Arsenal?
I reckon they could get the Premier League record. I really do. I think they can beat their Leicester and that, the way we're playing at the moment. If they come out how they've played their last 2 games, they're going to put a ruck past us.
Okay, I
might be exaggerating. Leeds, if 10 puts out a lesser squad, we might get a win. But do you know what? The way we're playing at the moment, I'd let the under-23s play the cup game.
We're coming back on it. You two are coming back on here next week, and you're going to be coming back on here with your tails between your leg and eating humble pie after we've knocked Leeds out the Carabao and we've beaten Arsenal. Are you down for it, boys?
I'll tell you what I'll do.
I'm going to record this bit and I'll put it on, and then we're going to get you two on, and you're going to go, okay, or not.
Just the voice of realism, Dave. Just the voice of realism. I think you've got all the. I love your panel. They're great. Everyone that's been on, but they're all looking at it with old gold tinted spectacles. That we weren't that bad, were we?
Right now, mate. I'm there.
We were terrible. We've barely scored a goal. We've barely got any points. We're second from bottom. Luckily, second from bottom.
On goal
garbage
difference.
and on goal difference. So anybody who thinks
next week, I'm telling you now, it's happening.
Do you really think, Dave, that Arsenal are going to lose at Molineux?
Yes.
Bloody hell! I'll tell you what.
I'm saying I don't. You know what? Because I'm always
you just want to have hope.
I exactly expect what you're saying, that Arsenal are so good, the way they're playing at the moment, we've got no chance. It's the sort of game we'll win. I've seen it so many times. When we've got no hope, we'll win the game, and we're gonna win next week. But you're probably going to be right, and I'm probably just talking out my at the moment. But I'm just gonna have some positivity on the show, and we're gonna say we're gonna win. We're gonna go through in the Carabao, score some goals, and we're gonna beat Arsenal next week. What
you've got to remember, where's the goals going to come from against Arsenal? Because a certain striker's still on his red card ban, and now Semedo's in with that as well.
Neves is going to score. Martinez is going to score one of his things. And then Wang's going to score. So we're going to get 3.
Blimey. So that's three things we've got to think about eating on screen.
Have you been eating that? you been eating special cookies, Dave? Because you sound a bit trippy.
Mushrooms.
I don't know what the producer's been putting in my tea. I don't know.
I think it's mushrooms or something. Mushroom tea, yeah.
I don't think
if we win, brilliant.
I don't think me and Sam are probably the people to finish off your talking Wolves, Dave. I think you probably need to have us at the start and sort of misery sandwich.
You know what? I absolutely love having you on. This is great because it's real entertainment and it's real honest thoughts and passion, and you put it across in the right way. There's no thingy. We can talk and have banter and stuff like that, and it's done in the right way. So my job is to sort of like, if someone gives one view, is to try and counteract the view and create that debate. I'm just, because you've gone so extreme with the 10 goals for Arsenal and stuff like that, and the 2 rated. I'm going extremely.
I'll tell you one thing, Dave. Yeah, I'll tell you one thing, Dave. There's only one thing I can say in here that definitely come true. We definitely won't be playing West Brom next season, regardless of where we are.
Well, I don't know about that. They beat QPR away yesterday, didn't they, Baggies?
Yeah, but look where they are.
Have you noticed, Beale? They've not won a game since he turned us down. It's like it's cursed him. Anyway, we're going to finish with the Wheel of Death. Oh, sorry, the Spin the Wheel. We'll call it the Wheel of Death when you come on. We'll have to give it a different name. Hold on. Let's bring on the Wheel of Death for you guys.
Oh, hang on. Look at this wheel. It says Wolves to win 1-0, Wolves to win 2-0, Wolves to win 3-0. Oh, dear.
Are you ready?
Go on.
Here we go. Spinning that wheel. Oh, have we done? I don't think you've done this one, have you?
Oh, no, I haven't.
What was your first computer game, or first computer game, and your favourite computer game of all time? Go on, Nate.
You want to go first, Sam?
Yeah, I don't mind. You go first, Nate.
Well, yeah, I think, because I'm probably a bit of an older gentleman. I mean, my first computer was ZX81.
ZX81, wow.
ZX81. So my first computer game was Ant Attack in 1982, which is a 1K computer game. Ant Attack, 3D Ant Attack. Amazing what they got out of that little computer. Favorite computer game of all time would be Sensible World of Soccer on the Amiga 600.
Mate, we've got to play that online against each other. I'm sure you can get it on. Sensible Soccer is my all-time. It's the best football game ever. I was so
without
good
a shadow of a doubt.
Well.
I did.
I played it on the 64, the Commodore 64.
Yeah, I had it on the Amiga 600. It took me through university, that game. I think, perhaps not girls and beer. I think it was more about sensible soccer, sadly, but great game. But yeah, that's going back to about 1994, 5, something like that, I want to say.
Oh, what a game. Yeah. I love sensible soccer. It was so good. Come on, Sam.
Well, the first computers I ever worked on were IBMs, and we had to have a room in the office to run the reels. So that's how far back I went with computers. So they were made by IBM, and they ran our computer quoting system for insurance. The only games you could play on it was the old football with the little bats at each end. Yeah. So, but more overly, I like Flight Simulator. That was probably the first thing I bought for myself.
Do you remember this one, guys? Track and Field. And the joystick and everything. Yeah, the Track and Field was good. Davey Johnson's one was a good one as well. That was good. I also liked James Pond, the fish. And there was one game called do you remember the Elite? No. It was like
BBC Micro.
It was like a vector universe game with
BBC Micro.
Oh, fantastic game that was. Absolutely brilliant. Brian says 1985, the original Stickman, Wolfenstein.
Yeah, one of the first man shooters, Wolfenstein.
Yeah.
Look at what Gary's come out with here. Manic Miner. Oh, what a game.
Wonderful. Jet Set Willy was a little bit better, but both really, really tough.
Impossible Mission, the Commodore 64. I love my Commodore 64. I had an Amiga after that as well, mate. I love my Commodores. I did. They were absolutely fantastic. Anyway, guys, that was really entertaining and a bit of light-hearted humour. You've got one challenge left to end the show. Guys, please smash a like on the videos if you enjoyed it. And please consider subscribing because hopefully you're enjoying loads of entertainment. And hopefully if you're watching it back on catch-up or you're listening to it on the podcast, will be out tomorrow. Your final challenge today, guys, to finish up on. I know this might be difficult. You have to finish on a positive. What's your positive message?
Wow.
I know it's difficult.
We've got a new head coach. We've got a new head coach. There's a positive.
Okay. Nathan?
I've got a new jar of Bovril.
Love it, mate. Well, there you have it. A new head coach and a new jar of Bovril. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in tonight. We're on an hour and 45 minutes. We've had over 200 watching live all the way through the show. Loads more will watch it on catch up and listen to it on the podcast. Keep the faith. I know it's depressing at the moment. Believe me, I feel it as bad as everyone. But we've got 2 more games at Molineux this week. 2 more nights of pain or maybe joy. But it's the hope that kills you, isn't it, guys?
And it just.
It really is. So for myself, all the pundits, you guys in the chat, lots of love to you and your families, wherever you are in the world. And, of course, keep the faith. Always Wolves.